Welcome to episode 40 of KinFit. I'm Michael.
I'm Tiffany, and today it is a breezy day in Montreal, and we are filming in front of an unknown fountain in an unknown park.
Well, this park, I'm pretty sure this park has a name. Usually has fire and steam coming out of it too, but none to be seen right now.
Maybe it will mysteriously appear a little bit later on, but for now, let's get to Fit News. So what's going on in Fit News this week?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but about 2 years ago we did an episode where we talked about the Wii Fit board coming out.
Yes.
Or Wii Fit. That was from E3. Well, E3 has just passed by, and this year's E3 has more games coming out that are fitness oriented as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not just the Wii Fit now, it's a bunch of other companies and a bunch of other peripherals making fitness games. The first one I wanted to talk about though is a game by Ubisoft. It's for the Wii. It's called Your Shape. Now, what's so interesting or special about this is that Ubisoft designed a camera to work with the game. So basically what the camera does is, it's kind of like a webcam that you put on top of your TV, and the cam actually scans your entire body, puts it on the TV, and then you basically have an image of yourself on the TV, and then you can choose what type of body part you want to work out, what your goals are, whether it's strengthening, toning, or endurance, and then you would choose the amount of times you want to work out per week, and then basically the software constructs a program for you, and then you would follow it on a weekly or a daily basis.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like making a schedule at the gym.
Yeah, kind of like making a schedule at the gym, but this is entirely different because now your entire body is projected on the TV, and basically when you do the exercise, the trainer or the coach in the software will actually guide you through the exercise. And you can actually have there's also visual cues as well, showing you what, like if you're doing a squat, what your angle is and how far you should go, and then the trainer itself will tell you to go lower or to go higher or to maintain that speed. So it's very interesting. It's still in the early stages. We still don't know too much about it, but from what we saw at the E3 conference, it looks pretty neat. Okay,
so we'll definitely keep our eyes and ears open about if this ever comes out.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. Good.
And sticking on with Nintendo, Nintendo also announced at E3 that they were developing, or they already started planning making a peripheral called the Wii Vitality Sensor.
Okay, which is?
It's basically a heart rate monitor.
Okay.
Now, if for those of you who remember the kind of like the old school heart rate monitors where you plug your finger in, it's basically that. But the sensor actually plugs into your Wiimote as well, so you can actually see your heart rate on the TV. They didn't really divulge much information about it. It's still pretty much kept secret. All we know is that the sensor is supposed to help you measure your stress levels by seeing what your pulse is and seeing how because your pulse obviously is affected by other physiological factors as well. And they didn't say what game or what type of software it's going to go with, but it's a step ahead to see what other health benefits you can get with that sensor.
Well, I don't know about health benefits from the sensor, but maybe it will give us a little bit more information about how hard you're working in maybe some games or how...
Well, the way they announced it at E3 was that the sensor is supposed to help you measure your daily, kind of like measure your stress level, whether or not you are working out on the game. So you can just go home, turn on your Wii, plug on your heart rate sensor, or the vitality sensor, that's what they call it, and then you see your pulse, and then I don't know if they're going to give you a report whether or not you're stressed or not stressed, but that's the goal of the sensor itself.
All right, so I guess this is still in the very, very beginning stages. We don't know too much.
No, so hopefully later in the year, Nintendo will give us more info about it, and hopefully we can give you more info about it as well.
All right. Yeah. Anything else?
Yes. Microsoft has recently developed, in its early stages, a motion sensor called Project Natal.
Which is?
Which is a hands-free motion sensor. Basically, you don't use your controller at all to interact with the software or the game that you're playing. It basically captures your entire body, and basically whatever you do, the character on the screen does as well. So if I was, what they showed at E3 was it was kind of like a game where balls were flying at you, and basically you had to use your hands and your legs and the rest of your body to block the ball. So what they showed off was the guy using his hands and his legs to kick the balls away, and his feedback was that it was actually quite a good workout because you're using your entire body.
Well, this definitely takes activity and gaming to a whole new level beyond just using like a Wiimote, because now you're engaging your entire body, which is kind of cool.
Your entire body, and what's also interesting is that it wasn't just for their games, but it was also for other software that's in the Xbox as well. So whether or not you're actually scrolling through a menu on your Xbox. You
Oh.
actually use your hands to do it. So if you need to scroll to the next window, you would probably knock it off or something, or you would slide it with a scroll bar. And then for racing games as well, you would be driving, and then if you put down your hand to change the gears, the game would do that as well. So literally, even if you're playing a driving game, your whole body is still being used as well.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so hopefully we get more info about Project Natal as well, because that was one of the biggest things coming out of E3.
Well, I don't think you could be a couch potato anymore playing games.
No, you definitely won't be.
All right.
And last bit of news I want to talk about is a game I recently discovered. It's very similar to the EA Active game that came out just last month. It's actually called the Gold's Cardio Workout for the Wii.
Oh, okay.
So it actually works with the Wii board as well, but it's mostly cardio, but it's very interesting. I saw a couple of reviews for it, and one of the little mini games that they had in the review was kind of like a cardio box.
Okay.
So you would actually use the Wiimote and the nunchuck, or the two Wiimotes, and you would do kind of cardio box. And from what I read and from what I saw, it's actually quite a workout. It actually works you out as hard as the EA Active, because it does incorporate the whole body as well. And so it's very cool to see all these other fitness companies out there that aren't really related to the gaming industry starting to jump in and start get into this whole kind of like fitness software trend.
Gaming and fitness are starting to blend together a little bit more, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And I guess that wraps it up for this week's Fit News. So on today's Infudmation, I'm going to talk a little bit about tea. Tea is one of the world's most popular beverages, and legend has it that it first came to become a beverage in about 2737 BC, when an emperor in China was boiling water. Now, some wild leaves from the plant Camellia sinensis fell into this pot, and the aroma that came from this pot was so pleasant that he decided to sample it, and hence we have tea. Now, it's become popular through exportation and eventually became the national drink in Britain. Several countries actually produce tea. Some of the main ones are Sri Lanka, India, China, Japan, and Indonesia. There are other places that make it, but these are the major producers. Now, in order to produce tea, about 1,000 leaves are needed to make about 1 pound of manufactured tea. And only the most young and tender leaves are picked. Now, the actual method of process is the most important in order to get that flavor, the special flavor from the tea. Now, the first part of the process is actually the withering part, where the leaves are spread out in thin layers and exposed to warm air for about between 6 to 18 hours. And this helps to reduce the moisture to about 55 to 65%. The next part of the process is rolling. So the rolling of the leaves causes cell disruption, and this causes oxidation to happen. Now, oxidation is actually the fermentation where the natural enzymes they come out from the leaves, and this causes the leaves to darken naturally. The last part is the firing stage. The firing, the leaves are passed through a hot dryer for around 20 minutes or so, and this inactivates all the rest of the enzymes, and it dries up and removes further moisture from the leaves. So, please stay tuned for the next episode, where I will continue talking about the different types of tea.
So this wraps up our steaming episode of KinFit, finally.
I know. It's kind of nice. It mysteriously appeared just in time for the end of our episode.
But we're still missing the fire.
Well, can't win it all.
No.
So please check back our show notes for all the important pieces of information that we want you to find out about.
And if you have any ideas, suggestions, or questions you want to ask us, just email them to us at info@kinfit.tv.
Big thank you goes out to Vincent, our cameraman today.
So remember, don't quit.
Stay fit. That he decided to taste this beverage, and that's happened. It was going well.